When the Pac-12 announced the cancellation of fall sports Tuesday, football got the most notice, and for good reason. That sport brings in the lion's share of the money. But it also killed the season for women's volleyball, men's and women's soccer, golf, and it will cut some early season basketball games too. That all adds up to serious money, on top of the financial wallop that schools already face from COVID-19.
It's a $200 million shot that Oregon State is going to figure a way that we're going to handle, along with the help from the federal government.
Oregon State University was the most willing to share its numbers today. The loss of the football season will cost the athletic department about $50 million, $50 million. And the loss of money from having fewer students living on campus and all the support services they pay for, along with other lost money and the athletic department loss, will total more than $200 million. The school's new president, F. King Alexander, said this reminds him of the recession while he was a university leader in California. The state propped up the schools for 3 years and then stopped.
When 2012 happened, the stimulus funds went away, and most of our state budgets were reduced from a 2006 funding level to about a 1995 funding level. And so most states, including California, Kentucky, Louisiana, basically let their public institutions fall off a cliff, a funding cliff. I'm very worried about the upcoming year, next year, and what we're going to do to get through that year.
He means the 2021-22 school year. King expects the federal government to kick in $30 million to help the school this year, but he worries about state cuts and dire economic forecasts. The good news at Oregon State, enrollment seems to be holding steady. It's down just 8 students compared to this same day last year. The University of Oregon did not release the impact of its athletic department or the COVID impact to the school. But this past spring, the president estimated the impact for that term alone was $25 million and cut 282 jobs. Portland State University is not in the Pac-12, but the Big Sky Conference and its season is also postponed. The school estimates it will cost at least $150,000 in lost ticket revenue. It's unclear what the COVID impact is school-wide, but in June, PSU moved $11 million from a rainy day fund into the budget, raised tuition 5%, and cut hours for 1,400 employees. Still, the VP of Enrollment said only 5% fewer students are registered so far this year, even though 95% of the classes will be online.
So when they start to struggle financially, they want to stay closer to home, and they want to pay less. And we feel like we check both those boxes for a whole lot of the students that we serve.
Cutting those fall sports does make things worse for the universities, which were already struggling with COVID-19 expenses. But what they're really worried about, in addition to this year, are the 2 years after that, when the state of Oregon faces a $4 billion shortfall and may need to take serious action, including slashing budgets of universities. In Northeast Portland, Pat Doris, KGW News.